my thing to go ahead. Why did I hide that? All right, so yeah, definitely gonna give you guys a chance to hop on up in here. I know that you guys are here tonight, so we will have Tradeblock on. Let's see, update this. There we go. I don't need myself on there. Well, you and the time, are we still, you still clocking? Still clocking, checking the time? I know this is much later than I would normally ever go up, but we're going to have Tradeblock on here for a live stream to be able to give you guys, you know, just some their thoughts. So we'll go over the actual platform in itself. As you guys already know, I've traded on Tradeblock quite a bit, right? So that's why I have this block right here. So that's what we're going to discuss. But of course, to give you guys a chance to come on in here if we want to discuss maybe a few things ahead of time. We can absolutely do that. I will not keep you long today. Probably, let's say 9. We'll push it maybe till 9. I still have a lot of things that I need to get done. But all you guys are heading in here. So Wolf, already, of course, you were first. Hey, TJ video coming in clutch. Hopefully you're off work so you can catch this. Hopefully, big LJ, hopefully you are being safe on the roads. I know it's a crazy, crazy time right now, so please be safe. You got the W. Yeah, I did. I got the W on the ones. Shout out to best friend coming through. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Wolf, what is going on? So, and as also, just so you guys know, I'm home. Okay, big up. We glad you're home. I'm glad you're home. I am glad you are home. Just listen, for everybody that has to be on the roads, it's not fun, okay? I had 2 feet worth of snowdrifts that I had to dig my car out. I didn't have to go anywhere today, but I still needed to dig my car out, and it was just not fun at all. But people down south in Texas especially, just make sure you guys are being safe. Yes, what is up, everyone? So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of time. I've only been up here 4 minutes right now, so I'm gonna give people a little bit of time to come on in. Yo, what's good? Hey, and I know there are quite a few sneakers that are releasing this week. You guys have, dunks, cool grade 3s, a lot of different pairs. So, also comment in the chat if you guys plan on going after any of those. Yolanda, what's going on? Did you have a good day? Get your workout and everything in? I got 0 in. It was a wrap for me. I had an 8:30 Zoom call for work, so it was a wrap for me. The community is coming through, and I appreciate it. I absolutely appreciate you guys coming through tonight. I know you don't have to, okay? So I thank you for spending some time with me on a Tuesday. Home forecast because it's windy out. Listen, it was windy out. Roads were terrible. So it's gotten better now, but Rich is anxious. The goal is not to knock people over the head, Wolf. That's not the goal. We're hoping that that's not needed, that we're good, we're cool, that we don't need that. That's what we're hoping, okay? That's what we're hoping. Twoster's crew, you guys are always good. You guys are an amazing group, so I don't foresee anything. But yeah, weather has been terrible. So also, you guys, if you haven't, I made sure to put the link in the description box so you guys can actually check out any video I've ever done on Tradeblock in itself, which will show you the whole process of submitting a trade, accepting the trade, shipping the shoe off, receiving my shoe, unboxing it, everything that goes with it. So if you need to watch any video after you check out this live, okay, after you check out this live, you can do that. The link is in the description. And then also, if you need to sign up for Tradeblock because you haven't yet, which I don't know why you haven't, but if you haven't yet, you can absolutely do that too. And then just click on either the pinned comment in the chat, or you can click on in the description box too. But yeah, bad weather and roads. Listen, people were homebound today. This was a good day to just take a rest day. Good day to take a rest day. Yeah, pretty much a good night. We are here at night. Listen, a little night live. Absolutely nothing from one to cook cakes. He is like, someone control him. He is really trying to live up to all moderator duties. Barbara, thank you. Absolutely. I really appreciate it. I know it's always a little tricky when it comes to me posting my videos at 6. I premiere them just so you guys can have that interaction with myself and each other in the community that we have. But not to say that some of you are trying to get home or you're commuting or you may still be at work. I know that's not sometimes always the easiest time to be able to watch me. Can you trade the trade block? Really? Can we trade the... What are you trying to trade? You want to trade this? Is that what you're asking me? Can I trade the trade block? No, this is what happens when you actually execute a trade. You get these and you start stacking them up. I have another one like over by my desk area. So, hey, Magic J, what's going on? Love from London. Yep, that was sweet. Congratulations. Thank you, Soldier Kicks. I appreciate it. Mr. West, okay, so your other wrench buddy is in here. Well, if your other wrench buddy is in here, okay, so you're not alone. Your other wrench buddy is in here. Listen, when it comes to DMs, a lot of stuff goes to request folder, which means I never see it. That's really how it goes on Instagram. I barely see a lot of messages that may come through. I got home at 7. Yeah, I know. It's about that. So I'm gonna give people a few more minutes to be able to come on up in here. And I don't know why I had up sneaker news. We'll take a look at the actual platform in itself too, guys, for Tradeblock, just so you know. So I will make sure to do that. But let's look at something real quick. What Chrome tab am I trying to look at real quick? So we know the cool grade 3s. Those are coming out. These actually look pretty fire. But trying to get hands on dunks these days is a nightmare. Ooh, I did not know this was a new colorway. So I know you all don't care about the MA2. I happen to care about the MA2. Let's see. I know this is a different colorway. That's a nice looking shoe. I don't mind the bread colorway at all. I do like the lighter one that I feel like is more perfect for spring that's coming out, but I like this one too. I know somebody's going to say these are referee shoes, but these are probably going to be just as comfortable as the Deltas are. So if you like Jordan Deltas, I would say probably get these. It'll probably give you the same comfort. I love the Nike branding and different stuff they have on it. So this looks fire. Okay, I'm interested in that. We already know cool grade 3s are coming out. Hopefully you guys are able to get a pair. I don't know how you fared on the Carmine 6. If you secured a W, even if you lost, even if you took an L, understand a lot of stores, they actually had to send some of their stock back. They're probably going to get new stock in. So just call with your local stores and check around to see what's what. But cool grade 3. I know someone will ask, I don't have any intentions of getting the shoe. I do not. Just throw that out there. I do not have intentions of getting the shoe. Just finally purchased my iPad today. So once that arrives, my life will feel like it is organized in just one place, which is probably going to be Good Notes app, but organized in one place. So you guys can see here, it is releasing on Saturday. Hopefully, some smiles rather than all the sad, frustrated, I didn't got them faces that occurs with sneakers and more. Hopefully apps don't crash either. Goodness knows that Flex app has been doing that and been just notion. What do you mean you don't got a wrench? What the heck, Wes? Are you kidding me? What do you mean you don't have a wrench? Wes, seriously? When did you find this out? I feel like you should have known this, that you didn't have a wrench at this point. I feel like you should have known this, Wes. But let me find you in here. If my screen can come up and stop playing around. But let me find you real quick, Wes, so I can wrench you up again. I swore you had one. I know you had one. I don't know what happened, though. All right, let me see. Look, guys, pardon me. Let me get Wes hooked up with his wrench since he says he doesn't have a wrench anymore. You really don't. What the hell? Okay, there you go, Wes. You're good. You're good. You should be golden. Powers combine. They did not combine. I've been watching closely for the Black Union Force, trying to come up with a comparable trade. Okay, so this is the kind of conversation that we want. Absolutely. Okay. So yes, if you've never traded on the platform, you have the ability to trade sneaker for sneaker, one for multiple pairs. You can trade sneakers and throw cash on top. That's what I really love about it. If you guys remember, and again, you can see this video, I traded away a double up of the dead stock Brett Ford that I had that recently released and some cash on top to secure the Sakai Waffle, the black nylon. I did that last year. That video is up again on my channel. If you probably just search like black Sakai, you'll be able to find it. But yeah, you go through this process of trying to find that perfect trade. And listen, sometimes it does take a little bit of patience. It's kind of like, waiting around for something to go on sale, but you may also just be waiting around to put together that perfect combination to trade with somebody. Dunks got pushed back. How many of the dunks got pushed back though? Hey Ricardo, what's going on? Like, how many of the dunks got pushed back though? I don't think all of them did. Cool Grays, I don't like them. Really? I feel like they are. I feel like the Cool Gray 3 is a slept-on pair. I'll say that. Oh, okay. You said very picky. Listen, buy 1000% what you like, hands down, all the time. Buy exactly what you like. Going for the Huarache and a pair of dunks Thursday. Huaraches will forever be one of the most classic and comfortable sneakers, so absolutely go for those. Made it through below 0 temps, delivering the mail. Just want to check in for the evening. Thank you, Trey. Now go get warm. Go do something. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, because I had my mail person ended up delivering a necklace that I ordered, and I felt bad. Like, I mean, I'm glad my package arrived, but I'm sitting here struggling. I feel bad that I had you out here. He hasn't had one since the new. Oh, that's right. He had a new page. Okay, that's why you didn't have. Okay, totally get it. It's okay. You're good, Wes. You're good. Just hit Black Unions for fours on Soul Steals. Okay, listen, we got come-ups coming on. We got come-ups. The shoes have to be unworn to trade. No, they do not. No, if you have like amazing condition used pair, so if you're putting a dead stock pair up, there are no additional pictures required, just so you know, and you can find this out all on the facts page. If you're trading a dead stock pair, then no, you don't have to do that. But if you are trading, you're trying to offer a trade for used pairs that are in your collection, when you add them to your closet, yes, you will need to actually take pictures of it. So if you, oh, no. This one, no. Let me go. This is actually what the homepage looks like if you are within the application. But what I want to show you guys is a different one. Let me see. I want to show you guys. Why isn't that pulling up? All right. So I'll show you what it looks like if you just go onto the regular application in itself. So when you first hop on, okay, this is Tradeblock, so Kicks is currency. And if you go to facts, it'll kind of tell you about, adding sneakers to your closet, the whole process. But no, your sneakers, they can be in amazing used condition and trade as well. So, all right, yep, these are amazing questions. And why do people wear busted Jordans outfit? Maybe that's all they have. That's all they can. That's all they have at the time. You know what I'm saying? You can't. Maybe that's all they have at the time. You know what? That's all I'm saying. That could be all they have at the time. But yeah, Trey, go take care of yourself. Please go get warm. Absolutely. But all right, guys. So we're gonna bring on BMO. So he is part of the Tradeblock team. We have questions prepared, but also I want you guys to interact, be involved. So if you have questions, I'll make sure to check on the chat as well to address those as we go through this. So I will bring him up here on the platform. This is the first time I've had anyone else up here, which is awesome. So hopefully you guys are happy and excited to be able to have BMO up here. So B, what is going on?
Not much. Are you able to hear me?
No, I can hear you. Yeah, perfectly. Perfect. I can hear you. So thank you for hopping on the channel. Very first time. Excited. I know you all have a lot of exciting things going on in the new year 2021. So just go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
First of all, I have to say, I feel a little self-conscious because TJ has a way better like light setup, and so she's just glowing, and I'm here in my office, and I got one overhead light. But we'll thug it out. We'll make it work. First off, hey, I appreciate all you guys, taking the time to hang out with us tonight. And seems like some of you guys are already on Tradeblock. I can't tell you how much that means to us. So I'm Bimo Gogomu. I'm one of the 3 co-founders of Tradeblock. And because the other 2 co-founders thought I might be good at it, they actually asked me to be the CEO. That wasn't by choice originally. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey. I guess super quick backstory on myself. I was actually born in West Africa. So my father is African. My mom is a crazy white lady from the Midwest who married an African guy and moved to Cameroon after college. But grew up in H-Town for the most part, Southeast Houston. Spent a couple of years playing ball in college, and then eventually landed in Austin, Texas, which is where I live today. Yeah, and then been working on Tradeblock for, man, time has been flying, like a year and a half now. So that's me. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's it. So now you guys know 1/3 of the team. I see them all the time, but now you guys know 1/3 of the team that I work with. So that's something that if you guys didn't know, yes, I work very closely now with Tradeblock. So this is a fun new experience. And we want to bring them on because, again, I recently did a trade for the Vault Go 1. So if you guys remember, I purchased that shoe with the sole purpose of it being trade bait. That's the only reason I picked the shoe up. It was meant to be trade bait, and that went through perfectly. Now, again, I tried for the smoke gray one. No one wanted to trade the smoke gray one, or even a trade that went through. It fell through at the last minute, which that can happen. So you just kind of understand it kind of is just law of numbers. Keep shooting your shot to see if it'll happen. But I was able to secure the Air Jordan 3 Laser Orange, and you guys can see that all over my Instagram, but also here on my page, and I detail the whole process. So what we'll do today is just go over a few questions. I want you guys to get, kind of a better understanding of Tradeblock, why they started, where they see themselves going, different things that kind of went through their minds in the process of setting the platform up. And again, this is just for you all to be able to interact as well and have your questions answered immediately. So we'll start right in. That way, again, I want to get you guys out here in a decent amount of time. So let me. Oh no, we're good. All right. So just to start off, because if you look on the fact page, it says, it started with one simple question: why isn't there an easy way to trade sneakers online? That was the question that went through the founder's mind. So what I'm curious to know, Bimo, so what was that moment or kind of that sneaker release that sparked this question for the founders of the platform?
All right. So before I answer, I think I have to preface by saying a lot of my answer is basically just going to be me gushing about my co-founders. So disclaimer, y'all be ready for that. But so myself, Tony and Darren, the other 2 co-founders, we actually all grew up in the same neighborhood. So I went to junior high actually with Darren, and I've known him since I was in 7th grade. We met Tony in high school. So obviously we go way back. And, back then, all 3 of us actually worked sneaker retail. So they were both at Foot Locker. I was at Finish Line. This is like late 2000s, early 2010s. And I think the first thing that really caught our attention, like we were all into sneakers, but if anybody has worked retail, especially early 2010s, I'm sure some of you guys have stories about the guy who was like, let's be honest, most likely a drug dealer walking in and being like, yo, so those Jordans that are releasing on Friday, like hold a pair of 9s for me. And like, here's 2 bills. And I remember the first time this happened to me and I was just like, bruh, what just happened? Like, this is insanity. Yes. And I'm a curious person by nature. So I just started asking questions. And, somebody explained to me like, yeah, he's going to turn around and flip those for probably double the retail price. Like, that's why he's willing to throw you some cash. And I just remember being like, dang, that's crazy. But I probably didn't think about it as much as I should have at the time. But the other thing we used to talk a lot about was just sports in general. And so I play ball. Me and Darren play basketball together. And Tony was basically like, I don't know if you guys remember the show Stump the Schwab. Tony was basically like the Schwab, whereas just like you could be like, yo, Tony, like name the whole NBA lineup for like the 97 Pistons, and he had just rattled them joints out. But we used to, oh, like for real, try him sometime. But we used to all play with, I don't know how many people in the live will be familiar with this, but it was called the ESPN trade machine. And so you could actually basically create fake trades as if you were the GM of I think it was specifically for basketball. They might have had it for football too. But you could go and be like, all right, like what if I was the Rockets GM and I, proposed this trade to the Bulls? And ESPN would essentially do an evaluation and say like, yeah, that's a pretty good trade. There's a good likelihood of it going through, or like, no, that would never be considered. And just kind of casually, I think Tony was the first person to say it, like, bro, wouldn't it be dope if we could do this, but like with our sneakers? And like when you actually get a trade done, you actually swap. And we're like, yeah, that would be super cool. But, again, we're high school, college. Only things that mattered to us at the time were basically like sports and girls. And so that was like one conversation we had that, was like, all right, cool. And then, we went off to college, entered the professional world and kind of kept up with each other, but really didn't talk about sneakers much again until 2019. And so, really, again, like I have to give all of the credit to Tony and Darren because they were the ones who really took the initiative. It was something we talked about, like, dang, StockX is worth $1 billion+. That's crazy. They're 3 years old. Like same with GOAT. And, I think Darren and Tony really realized like nobody is attacking trading. Like we owe it to ourselves to go try to do this basically. So, they went out, started an Instagram page, hit the streets, started going to sneaker cons and telling people about the idea and seeing if they could find people who would be into it. Like, I don't know how they would feel about me sharing this, but like sleeping in their cars, like straight up would road trip out to Maryland and would sleep outside of SneakerCon so they could be there first thing in the morning when the line started forming.
No, listen, that's part of the struggle, right? Steve Harvey has told his truth and his story many a times on his rise to where he is right now. Sometimes you are hustling just day to day to get to the next opportunity. It's not pretty, it's not glamorous, it's a lot of sacrifice. But no, I respect it. That lets you know how all in they were on making this happen.
The hunger is always what I talk about. So I actually, at the time, I was working at IBM, my previous job, in the design program. So while they're out in the streets, basically trying to drum up interest in this and building a small following on Instagram, I was at IBM learning all about product design and development and all of those sorts of things. And, just really like itching for an opportunity to put all of those new skills to work. So really it was just a match made in heaven and the timing was perfect. Like Darren came to me and he's like, hey bro, like, we've been really chewing on this idea. Like we feel like we have a really good understanding of the space. We've started to test it out. There's interest, but what we don't have is kind of the design and tech background. And we know you have that. So I think I told him something like, oh, well, I'm super busy. Like, let's get on a call once a week for a couple of weeks. And I think after about 2 of those calls, I said, all right, guys, well, in the week since our last call, I've, sketched out 50 wireframes in my notebook. I've thought through all of these scenarios. So like,
hooked you.
It's not a choice anymore. Like I'm in, even if I didn't want to be. So that's the origin story. And then, from there, just been sprinting as fast as we can, man. I'm just super grateful for those guys. They were the catalysts. They believed in me enough to pull me in and welcome me with open arms. And there's no way we have any amount of success that we're having now without their hustle and the ground game, as I like to call it.
Right. And being in the infancy for sure means it's so much work to get up and started, right? Like people have to remember, normally when you're a small business and you're starting out as a business owner, you may not even take home like a salary the first year, the first 2 years, depending on how it's going, because you're dumping everything else back into your actual business, your platform, your service. Now that also means dumping it back into quality people that play a role, right? Again, you can have the vision of what you want, the oversight, where you want to take it. You don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of the tasks that are needed and systems, right? You put good people in place, you delegate based on what their expertise is, and you let that go. BMO is literally the really, really, really technical one that understands all of that. So no, listen, and he's
don't
laughing
give me too much
because
credit.
that is really how Darren is, right? Like Darren will hit you up and you're just like, Yeah, all right. I mean, I'll think on it, and about like 2 conversations later, you're like, "How am I sitting in a meeting?" Like,
Bro, Darren, like what all of those cliches about selling ice to an Eskimo and all that, like that's Darren for real. You will
no,
literally
that's
wake up
absolutely
one
him.
day and be like, "Did I quit my job? What the?" That was me. But again, like best decision I ever made. And I think, you know what Darren has that I'm so appreciative of is he helps people get out of their own way, basically. I knew I wanted to do startups. You know, I knew I wanted to be involved in design and UX. And, you know, basically, I think I kept finding excuses why not to do it. And Darren came in and he got rid of all the excuses. He's like, we've done all the legwork. You can focus on whatever it is you want to focus on. Like, we just want you and we know what you can bring to this. So forever grateful for both of those guys, honestly.
As they say, you can't just stay perched on your potential. Apparently, you got to go out
Facts.
and do something. So, before we hop to the next question, we got a few questions in the chat, so I'll
Yep,
absolutely
yep.
address some of those. So, Leo, I understand, I get it, man. You are frustrated with some of the trades that have come your way. Now, I see Wolf kind of explaining. The sneaker game goes that way sometimes. There are good things offered to you and bad things offered. So, in terms of Leo, I know he said, let me see. There was a message sent. Obviously, bad deals is abusing the system, which can result in being banned on the platform. Absolutely. And I'll let BMO get into some of this because when it comes to also the guidelines, understand they are guidelines. It's not to be like Big Brother in a sense, right? Because we're all adults and we really want to have the ability to, kind of freely operate and buy, sell, and trade as if we were at, a sneaker convention. So, BMO, let's just touch on, because that was one of the things we were going to touch on, honestly. Let's touch on kind of the guidelines, because I do know there was a push notification that went out for the updated guidelines. Do you want to speak on those a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to start it off, I think I had to level set by saying like we're still a very small team. And I'm grateful that we have I tell the squad all the time, like, yo, guys, we're cold. And like you guys need to know that, because I've seen teams and products and startups that think they're great who aren't. But I think sometimes, like, the quality of our work and our standards can almost come back to bite us, because I think a lot of times the perception is, oh, y'all guys got 20, 30 people on staff, looking at all of these things. It's really not. We have 4 people who are full-time right now, and then another 3.5 who are part-time. So, the community guidelines, it really came out of us just trying to listen to our members and hearing a lot of complaints about, like, there's people on here who just aren't even really putting in a good faith effort to try to create a balanced trade. And so, the question we had to ask ourselves was, okay, how do we address this in the best way we can with the resources that we have? So we figured, the first thing that we need to do is make sure we set the standards and we put them out there, right? Like we can't punish somebody for putting out a crazy deal if we've never said anything about that. So basically, we wanted to start by setting the table and setting those standards. But I think the other thing I want to say is, like, Leo, all of you guys, like, be super real with us. For one, we have thick skin. And one of the things TJ and I were talking about is, like, when you build a business, especially when you're trying to do something new, like, there's no blueprint for this at all. Like, we're not just trying to build another marketplace. So there's a lot of stuff that we just couldn't anticipate. We had to try to be super thoughtful and, hey, what might happen? But, I will be the first person to say a lot of the instincts I had or things that I really fought for early on, like, some of those were absolutely wrong. So I think all we can ask is that, one, you guys be patient with us and, give us a little bit of leeway and license in terms of, like, we're trying to make all of these improvements as fast as possible. And there's also only so many things we can do in any given point in time. But also, just so you know, a lot of our product roadmap after we launch our mobile app, which is coming very soon, is all about trying to reduce basically those garbage offers. So I think one of the biggest things is just people making offers where they're clearly not looking at, or at least not caring about, the market value. One of the things we'll be introducing pretty quickly after we launch our iOS app is prices in the app. So you'll at least be able to see a price range of the shoes you're negotiating against.
And that's
So, you
great
know,
because that's actually something Wendell just he's like, hey, listen, this is just a thought, but have you ever thought about adding the market value to
yep.
the shoes so that making fair trades is a little bit easier? Absolutely. I know that's something that they want to do, not to ignore it, right? And I've said this before. I just think that helps because we're all looking for, fairness, and that's where it comes down to: how fair do I feel a trade is? That's why we negotiate to where both sides will feel comfortable with it. So that's a great question for you all to see. Listen, they're listening even when you think they're not listening. They're taking it in. It's just always going to be a process of what do you roll out first? How does it integrate to everything else? But I think, again, like he said, be honest, be upfront if you have pain points or things like that, just so they can know how to be better. I mean, think about it: if you're on other platforms and the pain points are ignored so much, just blatantly ignored, right? Sometimes, like Instagram, they keep giving you things that you don't ask for versus fixing one little simple thing that you could want. So no, absolutely, that's a great point, Leo. Great point, Wendell.
And then one more parting shot I got to throw out there.
Yeah.
Another thing on our roadmap, just so you guys know, is basically giving you as members more control over that. So I think one of the things I'm just like, I want no part in that, is us playing trade police, because there are some trades which are obviously absurd, but then there are other trades which one person might say, well, that's ambitious. Another person might say, no, that's absurd. And a lot of it is just subjective. So I think what we want to do is actually eventually give you the ability to say, like, look, I think this person keeps trying to send me trades I'm not interested in, and they're clearly not getting the message when I decline them all. So I'm actually just going to block this person from, sending me any offers in the future. We don't want to play the police, but we do want to give you guys more control over that. Because it's a shitty experience when people keep sending you garbage trades. Like, I mean, I get them joints all the time. I've got probably 1,000 deleted offers in my inbox.
See, Leo, so you are not alone. He is literally a founder. You are not alone. Because Leo said, do you see any of the trade offers? If you see someone sending out absurd deals, warn and ban them. I had an offer for 3 sneakers worth less than $200 each for my Jordan 11 Adapts and Jordan 13 cap and gowns. So yeah, that is absolutely, I can see the frustration there. You're looking at a $500 shoe out the gate for retail, plus another $225, I think, the cap and gown, or yeah, a lot of the cap and gowns are really high, 225, 250 even, maybe. So you're looking at bare minimum 700 that you would want in return, especially if they're dead stock for your trade. Or maybe you're even looking at the secondary market and you can see those prices. I totally get it, Leo. I think that's where you do have to kind of be a little patient with the give and take, right? For some of the other platforms that we may have used, and it can be a multitude of them because it's a pretty big market space, you have to deal with the ups and downs of it. So I think as they grow, though, they will probably take heed to it a little bit more and maybe try to learn from, pitfalls of other applications.
Absolutely.
I'm willing to pay for what I like. Yeah, listen, gotta be willing to pay. Yeah, trades are subjective. That is one thing it's great to keep in mind, right? Like, sneakers are subjective. Again, we've said this. I try to get away from the must-have now, but if it's a sneaker that you feel is a need in your collection, it may not be a need in someone else's. So the high value you hold may not be the high value that someone else holds. He said if people were open and honest, they would enjoy the site more. Listen, we're hoping.
I agree with that. Hey, Leo, if everybody was like TJ, all of the problems of the world would be solved. So we definitely agree on that point.
And all of you would enjoy Wingstop, and I would just buy a lot of stock in there and be a very rich person. Honestly, truthfully, I'm just saying, just putting that out there. But when it comes to the philosophy, so I mean, that's another good question we can absolutely touch on, because when it comes to the app in itself, I know there might be like a philosophy or an ideal experience or a way that Tradeblock may want users to think about it. So BMO, do you have like in your mind, like, kind of an ideal philosophy you would want users to have when they're hopping on Tradeblock?
That's a great question, actually. I don't know that I've ever considered it in that way. I mean, from a philosophy standpoint, I think the first thing that I would say is the same thing that I say almost in every context, which is just like be decent. I think that's what a lot of our community guidelines are trying to get at. I get frustrated a lot of times with people who, especially on the internet, feel like they have license to just be toxic. So I'd say that's the first thing. Like, if you want to join the community, like, we are super excited to have you. Like, honestly, it's a trip that this many people trust us to do this, and like that people are actually enjoying the thing that we've created. But I think the other thing that I'd say is hey, like, we want this community to be dope for everybody. And so
Right.
even if somebody's coming in and saying, I want to trade 10 times a month, like, if that is going to come with a bunch of toxicity, like, we can do without you. So that's
Absolutely.
number one. But as far as philosophy goes, I think one of the things that gets me excited about trading in general, not even necessarily Tradeblock, is that it just allows people to consider personal preference a lot more. Like, when everything became about market value, it makes sense to just say, well, I better get at least market value for this shoe if I'm going to sell it. But when you're putting a shoe up against a shoe, I think it just gives people more opportunity to really ask themselves the question, like, what's the value of this shoe to me? So, for example, like, I often run people through this where I'll say, all right, what's the value of this shoe? And they'll look it up on StockX and be like, 350. And I'll be like, all right, what would be the value of this shoe to you if you had a pair when you were 6 years old and never, ever were able to get another pair? Probably pretty significantly above that.
Yep.
What would the value be to you if you, say it's a pair of Yeezys and you're not into Yeezys, but one of your friends randomly came up and gave you like 3 pairs of the same shoe? Again, I'm sure you're probably willing to now part with that shoe for less than market value. So I think the biggest thing for us was just trying to reintroduce this idea of personal preference back into sneaker collecting, because we just felt like, all right, everything is now super transactional. And basically the only decision people are making is like, am I willing to pay the resale price or not? Because
Right.
all of us are taking L's at retail. So we're like, all right, what if there was a different way to do that? And that made the process just a little bit more interesting than, do I have the money to do this? Yes or no?
Yeah, and for me, like that was part of the mindset I was in of looking at. I really, really wanted the Black Sakai, the nylon pair. And because I'm sitting on a dead stock pair of Brett 4, I just had to think, okay, if I really wanted this shoe again, I could go get it. I absolutely could. But right now it's sitting here doing nothing for me. So whatever I may think the value is, it's not really that high. I have a pair that is still in pristine condition that I wear. And I'm like, okay, if I need to throw a little bit of cash on top to sweeten the deal, listen, I don't care what anyone says. It's a little bit easier to stomach if you're paying resale for something when you're paying part cash and it's part of a shoe, right? We have an emotional attachment to money far more a lot of times than we do to just items that we may have. So I would say definitely, just look at it like that. The fact that your shoes can be used as currency, because think about it, you may be doing a whole lot for the month with your income, whatever income you have coming in. You may have a lot of expenses and things on the horizon, but you have shoes that are just sitting in your closet. All of us have this where we could offer up a shoe for a number of different things at a number of different price points. Now you have the ability to do that. The shoes don't just have to sit there, right? There's no longer a need. Well, I have to sell the shoe, so I have to liquidate the shoe first, and then I have to go purchase another shoe. Well, no, I don't. I can just offer the shoe to somebody. If cash needs to be thrown on top to make it fair, awesome. Ship the shoe out, and I'm done. So I think it opens a whole new door now. Because we spoke about reselling, let's transition into that topic, because as we know, you all know, right? Reselling is super polarizing right now. You hate it, you love it. You may want them totally gone from the culture. The truth of the matter is they're not going anywhere, but I think they actually play a part in Tradeblock and helping people be able to get their shoes. So, BMO, how does Tradeblock view the value of resellers on the platform?
Y'all see TJ walking me through these minefields, huh?
Listen, we gotta give the people the questions they're really interested to know.
No, I love it. This is way better than most of the the vanilla cornflakes lives that I see.
No,
It's like,
we're not doing
this isn't interesting. No, it's a great question, and I guess I'll probably preface by saying, like, this is my opinion as BMO. Like, I don't know, Darren or Tony might have different opinions, and I wouldn't say Tradeblock necessarily has an official opinion on this, but one thing that I it's hard for me to get behind is the idea of cultural gatekeeping. So just this idea that there are people who feel like, oh, I have, the license, whether it's because of how big my collection is or how long I've been collecting or how many followers I have who can see my collection, that I now get to decide like what is okay and what's not, who is okay and who is not. I think there are very reasonable, I think there's a reasonable discussion to be had about sort of the authentic roots of a culture, right? So to say, hey, there are people who have actually been doing this and who have been dedicated to this space for decades before there was a ton of money to be made off of it. And that is absolutely something we should celebrate and preserve and, really like lift those people up. And that's something we try to do. But also, I think there's a lot of people who basically just, have decided that they're going to set these certain rules in their mind, and people who go outside of their rules are, persona non grata or whatever the case may be. So
Right.
how I look at resellers is this, there are a lot of those folks who are like some of the most impressive hustlers I've ever met in my life.
Facts.
And I'm not here to go hate on somebody who's figured out a creative way to make a living or to improve their lives just because I might disagree with how they're going about it. I will say it bothers me, like the bot side of things, because, if somebody can go and get 200 or 300 pairs of a 10,000 pair release, like that to me is kind of bullshit. But, to be upset at somebody who spent 10 or 15 years building relationships that allow them to get, 4 or 5 pairs of an exclusive release, like more power to you, bro. Like I know
Yeah.
that takes work.
It
So
takes a lot of work, a lot of networking, personality. It takes building trust, rapport, right? Listen, there are resellers that I highly respect. I see them put in the legwork and the footwork and, come through for people when they can't get something. Like Retro Rico is definitely one that I respect and chat with a lot, just behind the scenes to encourage him because I think he does a great job at what he does. Yeah, there can certainly be like gatekeeping. I think it comes down to, for a lot of people, it's not the where you have a connect, you're just trying to get your personal. It's when they feel like massive amounts of shoes are not even up for grabs. Now that's totally been removed from me. And so will that shift? I'm not really sure. That would probably be based on, again, supply and demand, right? If the demand were to ever drop for what resellers have to offer with the stock that they have, then it could possibly change.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is the question I'd ask is like, what are they giving back to the culture? So
Right.
great,
So
you're
yeah, that's
taking
the thing. If
advantage of
you
the
have
culture.
some that
Like,
are giving back, they're giving something back to the culture, something meaningful, then I think people in general are a little bit more accepting. They give a little bit more grace, right? Because just because someone does something that you don't partake in or you don't see all of the upside, right? There's usually a right way and a wrong way and a respectful way to do something, as long as the person is probably doing it in a way that is respectful in your eyes. Not a
yeah,
bad thing. Now, when I
absolutely.
think of resellers for Tradeblock, again, guys, and this is me, they could be your best friend on there. And I say that because, remember, resellers, they can be a reseller that does the quick flip. They can be a reseller that plays the long game. So some have the capital, they have the means, they have the patience. They're in a position where they can play the longer game. So let's say they secure multitude of Jordan 1s at one price point and they're just sitting on that stock, but maybe there's another shoe that comes out a little later on, another Jordan 1. They think that will go up. So if they're appraising that, oh, okay, it's projected to go way higher than the first Jordan 1 I invested in. But maybe the first one looks way better to a lot of us than that second one that's coming out. Well, if you're a person that took an L, like a lot of us, like I'll probably take an L this Friday on the women's silver toe one. I'm just being honest with you. So if you take an L on that, you hop on the platform and you see there happens to be a reseller, you look at their closet, tons and tons and tons, right, of pairs. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, if you're ever on the platform in itself, and we'll look at Tradeblock in itself. So if you are on the platform, right? So if you scroll on the home screen, you're able to see actual sneakers in itself. So if you click on a shoe, and again, this is detailed in my video, you can just head to the link in the description box. But if you click on a sneaker, you're able to get a total view of, how many collectors in total want these, right? So this is the demand right now for the dark mocha. Now, again, this is the men's pair. So this is the demand right now. You can see how many collectors have these. So not only can you see that, you can filter to whatever size you have. So just imagine if you go to a collector's closet, right? 3 collectors have it. Okay, awesome. So when you pull it up, you're able to see, are they new? Are they used? And it'll pull up those collectors. Now, these collectors don't have tons of shoes in their closet, so they may have been a few pairs that they acquired and they have up. But imagine if this didn't say 13 sneakers. Imagine if it said 50 sneakers. Someone's closet has 50 sneakers and they have a wide array of pairs within them. Okay, that could possibly be a reseller, which also means they may be more open to getting rid of the Jordan 1 they just secured just because you want the other one, right? They're willing to take on that stock. They're willing to do that trade. They're willing to do multiple trades because they're going to play the longer game. Whatever trade they get in return, they're going to sit on that. They'll wait for that to appreciate. And then maybe outside of the platform, they go and sell that acquired trade somewhere else. But the point of the matter is, without them ever being present on that platform with the stock that they have from reselling, you might not have gotten your pair. So I think that is something to keep in mind when we're factoring in resellers on the platform, trading. They have their place, right? They're part of this ecosystem. They have their place. Absolutely. So what's considered DS to Tradeblock verification? BMO, what is considered DS?
What is considered DS? So basically unworn in original box. We've actually been trying to, this is something we talk actually a lot about. It's super side note. When you start to build a product, it's crazy how many things seem straightforward that actually have layers and layers and layers. We probably had a 3-hour conversation about boxes and like, how do we like allow for selection of boxes? So basically, DS to us is, again, unworn, kind of like the traditional definition. But what we've added recently is a way to communicate the condition of the box, because that was something that a lot of people would talk about. They'd say, the shoes are DS, but the box got damaged, or I don't have the original box anymore. So now actually when you add a shoe to the app, you can select box condition. So either you have the original box in good condition, you have a damaged box, a replacement box, etc. And, I would never consider myself to be a expert authenticator. So don't worry, I am not the one inspecting the shoes. It's all folks who have been doing this for, 5-10 years. And I don't want to get too deep into the details on it right now, but we actually have a system whereby we have 2 separate people who are inspecting every shoe, and neither one gets to see the results of the other one. So basically a double blind system. So that, we only are passing a shoe through if both authenticators say it's good to go. If even one of them is like, I'm not sure, even if the other person is super confident, we're rejecting it and sending it back.
And that's good. That was a question that Wolf had. Are you guys the ones that check the shoes? So no, they are not, which totally removes them. You guys understand now it is like a double blind process. And if there is any hesitation, if the shoe is real, the trade is done, right? Because think about it, for a lot of us, you would rather have the peace of mind of just holding on to the shoe you have that you would know for sure is authentic and holding on to your money versus there's a possibility that it's not, right? I would rather somebody be more cautious than really relaxed. And then down the line, come to find out, maybe you want to get rid of that pair. Oh, wait, it's not real, right? That's a situation you don't want to be put in. So I'm glad that answered that question, because I know that was one that was absolutely visible. Now,
and we've for sure sent back shoes that are like, in my opinion, were probably real. But the discussion we always have is anybody uncertain? And if the answer is yes, it's not worth it. That's super important for us. Honestly, without naming any names, like one of the things we look at a lot are what are the other players in the game and how do they approach these things? And we looked at authentication and we frankly just felt like people weren't trying as hard as they could. One of the things we really try to do is like, all right, we are sneakerheads ourselves. Like, what would we want a company to do for us in all of these areas? So for authentication, we were like, we would want a double blind system where two separate people are checking every shoe, don't get to know what the other person judged the shoe as. And like that is, a higher level of peace of mind than we feel like is offered right now. So
Yeah, I think people have to keep in mind, like as a business, it's great to grow, but if you grow too fast, right? You're scaling up way faster than you ever thought you would, and you are not able to account for that with your resources, with your manpower, with your operations. You start to miss out on the quality for the service you're providing. And then once that happens and you've ruined an experience for somebody, right? That's not what you want. So that is something absolutely keep in mind. Leo said, I love how people can see what you want. If someone has good intentions and wants a sneaker you have, they should offer you something similar to what you want. So yes, to Leo's point, you have a wish list that you can put in there. And to my knowledge, this is actually something that Tradeblock intends to kind of incorporate, in the future. Can they actually help nudge those trades based on wish lists, right? Pairing those people up, right? We can see on your wish list, you want this shoe, size, style, colorway. Somebody else has something comparable that you want that they may want. Hey, here you go. Playing Sneaker Cupid, match made in heaven. Go ahead and execute that trade. And that's really funny because that's how my Sakai waffle, that's how my waffle trade went through. Darren hit me up. I forgot what we were talking about. And I'm like, man, I really want the Sakai. And he hit me up like a few weeks later. He's like, no, we got it. Like there's somebody who's looking for a Bread 4, like 2019, like Dead Style Grade School. And I'm like, seriously? So that's how it actually worked. It was a pair up like that. And that's actually how my other trade went too for the dead stock, or not even dead stock. They were just amazingly, they were great condition. 2013 Bread 1s. But if you know anything about GS pairs from 2013, they were so uncomfortable. The leather was so hard, just unforgiving. It was not a fun sneaker. I never wanted to wear it. As awesome as it looks, it's a grail for me, but I'm just going to have to wait for the 2016 pair. But yeah, so that'll be something in the works, guys, to try to push trades through that makes sense for both sides. And yeah,
just a couple quick hitters on that. So I think I mentioned price is coming soon. We definitely think that's going to help with the quality of offers. Without getting too deep in the details, we're also working on some ways for you to basically communicate a little bit more in the context of a negotiation. So helping somebody understand why you rejected and or countered an offer. That's something a lot of people have talked to us about, like, hey, I don't want to take the offer on the table, but it's important that the other person understands why. And I have no way of communicating that right now.
Right.
So that's something else coming soon. And then to TJ's point about Matchmaker, active traders, keep an eye on your inbox, because one of the things we're cooking up is recommended trades. So rather than you actually having to go find the trades or wait for somebody to send it to you, we as Tradeblock are going to be looking at all of that data and saying, hey, Leo, like you might not know Dre Day, but we actually found what we feel like would be a really good trade that both of you guys would be interested in. And we actually offer it to both of you at the same time. And then you can say, yeah, I'm down. Like, let me actually offer that to the other person, or I'm almost down. Let me change the terms of the deal. But yeah, lots of stuff cooking up.
Right, absolutely. Because I know that's the question that's always, I want to chat, I want to chat, I want to be able to chat. And I can certainly see it where if someone, because if you guys are not aware, so there's a 72-hour period between trades being offered and then one side accepting, the other side accepting. So it may be a point where maybe you're trying to just say, hey, I accepted, you want to go in and confirm, right? Like messages like that may generate a faster trade process in itself, or again, communication, right? A lot of things break down in communication. So being able to send just those quick messages might be something I think that could really improve the experience in itself. So that is great. They said, I'd rather wait longer for my shoe, provided the authentication is good. The waiting for shipment does not really determine the quality of the service. And that's the thing about it. First off, crazy to say this, but we are still in the midst of COVID, okay? And right now dealing with winter storm and power being out and different things like that, depending on the area of the country you're in. So yeah, always allow for, the time for you to ship your shoe and then it to actually arrive at the authentication location, sneakers to be authenticated, and then ship back out. And again, the whole process for me this last time was 11 days. It's actually occurred sooner for me depending on how fast my shoe arrived and how fast the other person's shoe arrived. So to me, great process when you think about it, right? And the fact that I don't have to do a whole lot is really nice in itself. Leo said, I like the idea of connecting people or connecting with people who offer reasonable offers and trades. And that's the thing. When you think about if price points will be taken into consideration, right? That's a simple algorithm to be able to match up the shoes based on a wish list here. So I have a demand, I have a supply, and are they in like a same tier system in terms of pricing? If so, that seems really reasonable. Hey, shoot that offer through or push that notification through and see how both, sides, see how both users feel about it. That's something I would like because quite honestly, now don't flame me guys, because I am really lazy. I have not updated my closet and God knows how long, because I wear all of my shoes. So none of my shoes are dead stock except for like one pair. So I have to actually take pictures of my shoes and then upload them to my closet. But I plan to do that one of these days when I have a free moment. But that would be nice because there may be trades pushed through to you, offer that you didn't even think about, right? It may be your shoe is in the same tier, same value as another shoe that you wanted that you totally forgot about, out of sight, out of mind. That trade notification comes through and you think about it. I've been sitting on this shoe and doing nothing with it. I don't even care about it anymore. Now I have a shoe offered to me that I really, really want.
Exactly. Two quick things, Leo, to your last question or comment. One thing that we added early on was a follow feature. And so I suggest to everybody, if you come across one like dope collectors with cool collections like in your size, like follow them because you'll get notifications every time they add something new to their closet and also when they add something new to their wish list. So there's definitely been times I've followed somebody and, saw that they added a shoe I have and have been trying to trade to their wish list. So that could be a good way of kind of finding regular trade partners. So I just kind of wanted to make sure I threw that out there.
What do you mean by that, guy? So as you can see, right, like Word Customs and Tradeblock will be on Word Show, the Mature Kids with her other two co-hosts. They'll be on their show very soon this month. I want to say like possibly this weekend, I believe. But okay, so let's say you click on Word's closet. So this is her closet that you're able to see all of these different shoes. And we all know Word has an insane collection, tons of heat, right? So you can see all of the different pairs that she has here in her closet. But take advantage of this too. You can see wish lists as well. So listen, what can you offer someone that they want if you really want their shoes? So you're able to look and see what are pairs that she really wants, okay? And then look at pairs you may want. Do you have something to offer, right? And then you can follow, right? So if you hit follow, that means you'll stay up to date as well on what they're adding to their closet. And again, this is why I say resellers aren't all bad, because if you're following them, they may add quite a few shoes to their collection on a regular basis. But like Bimo said, it's also really good to follow collectors on here. Caramel Wonder, of course, that's one of her other co-hosts. It's also really good to follow people that have your shoe size because
what up, Word? Sorry, I just saw Word in the comments. Get ready for your inbox to blow up, Word.
Yeah, Word. Listen, everybody about to be like, what? That's what she got in her closet.
Yeah. I wanted to really quick to hit on something else you mentioned, TJ. Like this is me personally, but one of the things that I again, like, I didn't even appreciate until we had put it out there and I started experiencing it as a member. Like getting offers in to me is like the best way to discover or rediscover sneakers. Like I'm only going to spend so much time scrolling through any feed to just try to find stuff I like. Either I think of it and oh, cool, let me go add it to my wish list, or I do a couple scrolls. But with trading, like I'm constantly getting offers for shoes I just wasn't thinking about. Like actually the last trade I did, I got a pair of the 2014, the 11, I think they're technically called Carolina. They're like the all white joints with like kind of like the icy white, the icy blue. So basically like I really wanted those shoes in 2014, like really badly. And it was just not a prudent decision that I could make. And I promise I didn't think again about those shoes after 2015 until like last week, when somebody offered them to me for, what was it, the navy pair of JPs, which I was into, but like you know, I just was kind of like, oh, I might rock these eventually. So it was just dope because I was like, oh my God, I forgot about those 11s. Like, absolutely, I want those joints.
And
So
that's a good thing to do too. Like, listen, if you take an L on a shoe too, add it immediately to the wish list, on your wish list. That's a really good habit to kind of get in the mindset of. Or again, if you were like me and you were buying shoes just for trade bait, as soon as you get the shoe, throw it up on there immediately and then go and check, how many people are looking for that shoe. Go look in their closet and see, okay, do I have something here that I can offer? But Word just answered a great question because Leo was curious: is there a reject offer button? I only see an accept and counter, and Word answered that for you. You delete it, and that rejects it. So if somebody deletes the trade offer, it's rejected, and you'll get a notification to your email. So trust me, I had plenty of those for the smoke gray one, for the Volt gray one. People just weren't vibing with it, but that's okay. The Jordan 3 laser orange went through beautifully. Or so it took me a minute to figure that out too. You should just leave the offers on red. So okay, so that may be another prompt or something that maybe they can factor into that screen for any trades. Delete trade to reject offer. That may be a prompt that'll help with understanding the interface a little bit more. So see, you guys are helping R&D back here, giving good feedback.
I promise, like, every one of these little things you guys talk about is like a minimum of a 30-minute conversation with us internally. Like me,
I've been on those calls,
man. Darren, Tony, and myself, our significant others, probably think we're crazy for some of the conversations that we have. Like, we go deep on everything. Part of it's like, honestly, we love doing this. Like, it's a joke to me that this is our work. Like, it's just way too fun. And we're all, thoughtful people who like to create. But it's very important to us that like the community is a big part of really like building this thing out with us. I was talking to TJ recently and I was just kind of saying like, when you start a new product or business or whatever, you're just doing a lot of guesswork at like what I think might work. And then like you have to listen to people. And I think that's what a lot of businesses get wrong. Like, they figure out one or two things that work, and then they just put on blinders and earmuffs, right? And they're like, cool, like, don't matter. I don't care if you're upset. I don't care if member support is bad. Like, y'all are still buying off of our site. So like, we just don't care. And I don't know, like that might work for a while. It might work forever for some businesses, but I just think it's a terrible way to operate. Like, I don't know how those guys sleep at night. Like, they just literally don't give a shit. I probably care. This sounds cliche. I probably care way more than I probably should about each individual
late at
case.
Night, like, man,
I literally have to tell
everything keep you up.
I have to tell our member support, like, don't fill me in on some of these issues unless I have to be involved, because I'll obsess over it. Like, because every person to me is a person. I know this sounds cliche and like y'all can call bullshit or whatever the case may be, but like, yeah, that's how we approach this stuff. And we want to very much be a part of the community. We're out in the streets. We'll be at sneaker cons. Like, you guys can find us and chop it up with us. We're not trying to avoid anybody. Again, like, we're going to make mistakes, but all we can ask is like, you guys are patient with us, and hopefully the core of what we're offering is valuable enough that you stick around.
Yeah, now I know this question. I know they answered this one, so unfortunately it's a no right now. But do you guys work worldwide, Asia, Europe, Africa, South America, Caribbeans? I know they don't right now. So international is not a thing right now. Absolutely, with the vision they have in mind, it would be. That would just take a lot right now. So I know it's just stateside for right now.
Yep.
And then, okay, so Devon is just curious, why'd you guys switch from FedEx to UPS? And that was a recent switch.
How do I say this in a way where I'm not disparaging a company too much? Honestly, I don't care, because FedEx doesn't give a shit about us. We had terrible experiences working with FedEx on two fronts. One, there were a couple of packages that we had that either got kind of lost in transit. Like, one, their tracking system just doesn't seem great. So there would be packages that had already been delivered and we're like, we have the package and it's saying it's still in transit, or vice versa. It's saying it's delivered. We clearly don't have it. And then there was a couple cases where we had packages get delivered with an empty box. And I think we follow enough, YouTube and like Instagram sneaker accounts to know, like, some of these delivery guys are breaking into boxes and then flipping shoes. So we had, again, I don't know what happened in those cases. It's hard to say. Like once it's gone from our authenticator, like it's kind of out of our control. But what really led to us making the switch was the service we got when that stuff happened was basically non-existent. And so we said, look, like, we know this is just going to happen sometimes. Packages will get lost. Like there's, dishonest drivers out there who will break into packages. Like that's going to happen. We just needed to have peace of mind that when that stuff does happen, like there are people we can talk to who can give us answers and who just don't give us the runaround. So that was the main reason we switched. I think a big part of this is like we're still a relatively small player to any of these shippers. And as we get bigger, the quality of service we get from them will get better. But yeah, everything we heard from people we talked to was one, UPS has a way better tracking system, and two, UPS has way better customer service when something does go wrong. So that's why we made the switch.
And that's the thing, whatever they need service on their side to flow smoothly, of course, so that it goes well for you guys. And sometimes, listen, even if it's not, I would say like a vendor that you would think normally you may end up partnering with. Listen, at the end of the day, Tradeblock's number one priority will be to take care of the end users, which are those people receiving their shoes. So doing whatever needs to happen for that is exactly what needs to occur. But all right, so we are almost done. We're just going to start to wrap this up because I know, Themo, there will be a mobile app, correct?
There will indeed. To be somewhat coy about it, in the next couple of weeks, we will absolutely be in the App Store. And after after we do our iOS launch, we've got a lot of stuff in the chamber. I think I've touched on some of it. Just so you guys know, like iterating or just this idea of putting something out there, gathering feedback, and then really quickly adding new features and improving, like that's my philosophy on building products. The reason we haven't done a ton of changes in the past few months is because we've had our developers focused on building out that mobile app. So, once that's out in the world, we can start to be a little bit more aggressive again with adding new features, fixing different flows and different parts of the user experience that are a little weird, and all those sorts of things. So yeah, coming very, very soon. That's where the majority of my mind and time and energy is going these days.
So there will be an app, so you guys already know, which that's just easier to use.
I do have a question, basically for the community here,
okay.
Because I've been sitting on a trade offer for the past 48 hours, and I don't know if I want to do it or not.
Okay, so you guys, that means you got to help them out.
Got to help me out. So the offer I got was, so I just got those the Anthracite 5s that dropped. Personally, I love 5s. I would absolutely rock those Anthracites. Haven't rocked them yet. I don't really rock anything because there's nowhere to go.
At all.
But the resale on them is not crazy. I think it's maybe like $250, $275. Point being, if I traded them away, I could get another pair and it wouldn't cost me a ton. So the offer was the Anthracite 5s, and then I also have a pair of Fire Red 4s. And what they were offering me for those two pairs was a dead stock pair of shattered backboard 1s plus $100 cash. Value seems to make sense. It's relatively balanced. Shattered backboards I know are super popular, so they're a good trade piece. I personally don't think I would ever rock them. Like black and orange is just hard for me to style. I'm a simple man. But I'm like, that might be really good trade bait. Word, take it now, like right now.
No, like
that's what I keep hearing.
Word is saying that because Word understands a shattered backboard. Okay, listen, you need to tell the 5s and them 4s they gotta go. We have no. It's nothing personal. It just makes sense. You accept that in a heartbeat.
See, my man Leo says no way though.
If you got questions, you can go on my page. I'm pretty sure I have posted an outfit somewhere in the satin shattered backboard. Okay, same thing. Just I got better materials and whatnot. Okay, so
all right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna accept the trade, but only my condition for accepting the trade is you guys have to get TJ to help style me because I can't rock them joints on my own, picking my own outfit.
That's cool. So this is what's gonna happen, right? Next sneaker event, he will be there. We're gonna make him wear these SBB 1s. Okay, style that needs to happen. So Chat, we're gonna follow up, okay, in a video
Dang.
later on. Somebody make sure you check in, remind me, like, did we check on BMO's trade? Did the
I
trade
do
go?
have a double up of the fours too, so that
Oh
I'm
no, this
more
is a
willing to part
no-brainer.
with the
Listen,
fours.
if you don't get rid of them fours and fives, okay, that are like a dime a dozen now in comparison to the shattered backboard, I still want that. I have the satin pair, but I still want the actual shattered backboard. I'd have to get like a min 7, but it is what it is. I can rock those though.
All right, I'm convinced. I guess that's what I'm gonna do as soon as I get off this live is go ahead, confirm that trade, and then hopefully this ice apocalypse in Austin is cleared in the next couple of days so I get them shoes shipped off.
Yeah, guys, and just keep in mind, like with the storm going on, because I know some of you may have a question about that. So, when it comes to outages and things, if you have trades in the works, like just be patient, but they're still going to go through. Because I know that's a question people have. Because trust me, if you are anyone, you see 72 hours, like you probably have the clock ticking in your mind, like, okay, I really need to get this shoe off. Things happen outside of people's control. Okay, there are extenuating circumstances, the weather all over the country. So that's just kind of like my thing to throw out there. Just be patient, and nothing's like going to get canceled or anything like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
Leo,
TJ. So you guys know our main person who works member support, like they've had no power and no water for almost 72 hours. And it's like, it's below freezing in Texas, which is just unheard of. So
right. So keep that in mind. People that are just trying to make sure livelihoods, well-beings are set and maintained. So just kind of keep that in mind. We all know like the shoes can chill and wait. What's your Instagram info so we can follow you? BMO, they want to follow you.
Oh, what is my Instagram info? So I definitely know my Tradeblock handle. My Tradeblock handle is the same as what my name is in the chat right now. Just Beams, BEEMS. And then on Instagram, I think it's the name's BMO.
I'll pull
up.
No,
it's red beams and mics.
I'll pull up. I'll put it in the chat here. That way people can go follow you. So you guys can definitely go follow BMO on Instagram. And
follow me on Instagram. Follow me in Tradeblock. Shoot me trade offers. I'm a size 13. Now accepting. Not accepting. Now considering all offers. And hit me on IG too. Sometimes I might take a little bit of time to respond, but like genuinely, y'all, like I love having conversations with our members and even non-members just about what we're doing. Like to me, it's surreal that this is my job. And yeah, you guys make it worthwhile. So be honest with me. Let me know what you think can be improved. But I also love it when people hit me up and tell me like, hey, here's something awesome that just happened from you guys' app. And like, this is why I love using it. Like those are the messages that put gas in the tank and, keep me firing away every day. So don't be shy. Again, like we're accessible. Like that's a point we want to make as a company.
Very accessible. If you have questions, a lot of times, right, if you're messaging Tradeblock, one of the easiest ways is to direct you like straight to facts because it may answer multiple questions that you have. So going to the FAQs is really, really important. You will see the whole trade breakdown process that explains everything, right? How shipping works and the authentication, what happens if a pair doesn't pass. Yes, all of your money is returned back to you. That's also always dependent on your bank. Give it 3 to 5 business days. But the FAQs are a great way to have a lot of your questions answered. And then if you have, additional questions, we may direct you to customer support, our member specialist. Just be mindful again right now. She's a little out of commission, but as soon as she's available again, trust me, she works hard. Like she has to be told to stop working at a certain point. So she works hard to make sure you guys are taken care of. But if you're not already following them on Instagram, okay, it's tradeblock.us. So head on over. You can follow them. And yes, some of the trades are featured here. So this is one of the most recent posts that went up. Trades are featured, but we will also feature different members within just the sneaker community in themselves, which I think is one of the most fire things that happens on the page in itself, right? Because you may be able to learn something like Dante. If you guys don't know, Dante does amazing camera work with just an iPhone. So if you happen to be a creator who is interested in getting crazy shots, you can do that. Featuring families like PR Sneaks or Ray, if you guys know Ray, his daughters, making sure they stay laced as well. Brittany, you guys absolutely know her at this point. If you do or watch anything related to the NBA or WNBA, just always fire. So there's tons of Kicks feature, trying to make sure that you guys stay up to date on maybe what's coming out, highlighting you all in the community because that's exactly what it's all about. And then interacting with you guys, right? Getting your feedback on different trades, and this is always the most fun to see your responses to the trades. I'll definitely say that, to see if you guys are feeling it, not feeling it. And keep in mind, I feel like whenever it's like who won, it's to generate good conversation, right? But at the end of the day, someone on either side or on both sides got something they wanted. So at the end of the day, everybody's a winner because you got rid of something that you didn't have a purpose for. Now you got something else that you're really excited to have. So that's
no L's on the block.
Tails on the block. So we will have that.
Oh, no L's. No L's on the block. I think that was that you, Dre? I think Dre Kicks was the first person to say that. Or it might have been somebody he was trading with. I can't remember, but I was like, oh, that's the dopest thing I've ever heard. We're putting that on a t-shirt.
That's right, Sneaker Fetish. You do spy Simply Be. Man, listen, that woman is insane, truly. I've got my closet up on there. Same name. So listen, guys, Sneaker Fetish is on there. If you guys didn't catch, he did a video as well. Just giving his feedback, his thoughts on Tradeblock, totally unsolicited. He just did that on his own accord. And by the way, he makes amazing content, period. Like best history in depth for the designers, the inspiration, what goes into a shoe, what makes it special. And then he'll touch on the topics also that people may not want to talk about. And he's always real with it. Great friend. So guys, definitely go and sub up and watch Sneaker Fetish. Let me click on word here. Aren't you taking the good stuff out the way so we can focus on the funny stuff? These terrible traders. I'm not staying up here. Listen, I have the busiest life right now when it comes to work and other creative endeavors, so I have to make sure I get those done. Like the past 2 nights, I've fallen asleep sitting straight up with the light still on as I'm trying to do like background work for social media stuff I have to do. So yeah, I'm going to try to not do that tonight. Like no joke, woke up and my phone was still like had fallen over, but still on the page that I was last scrolling. So that's not that good. That's not what we want.
Yo, word. I need you to help us make a segment. I don't know what we're going to call it. Maybe like, come on, bruh, or something like that. And all we're going to do is highlight crazy trades. And that it'd just be commentary. I'm like, really? I'm like Shaq and a Fool, but for Tradeblock.
Just have a what were you thinking Tradeblock.
Yes, exactly.
What were you thinking? What went through your mind? But
what
Leo,
weren't you thinking?
Man, listen, Leo, I'm glad that this was a bit of an eye opener to kind of give you an understanding of Tradeblock's thoughts behind the platform in itself, the experience they want you to have walking away. Right, it's definitely not to be frustrated. It's to feel like you have a good experience and just don't ever feel alone, like you're getting bad trades, right? Like you can certainly run through that, but once you get the trade to go through, listen, it's a great feeling to have that. When you get your trade, get your block, I promise you it's a really good feeling. So I would say absolutely just stick with it as other things, continue to happen and it evolves. The app comes out. Look at all the blocks he has. Look at that. You see him blocked up.
Those are all real trades too. I'm not just over here stacking up the supply.
He's doing trades blocked up. He's doing real trades. So I have 2. I technically would have a third, but this is back when you guys were still like Astrolab X, and I had Ace come in my box. So you guys have been amazing though. So thank you again so much, BMO, for hopping on. Thank you, any and everybody that jumped into the live, because I know I don't do these tons. This is the first time I've had anyone up on the channel that wasn't AJ. So hopefully you guys really enjoyed the live. Again, this will be up on my channel. I'll just add it to the Tradeblock playlist. So if you guys want to, watch this back, be able to see the entire interview, a lot of gems in there. Stay tuned again for the app rollout for iOS. So that'll be coming soon within the next few months. And then follow them on Instagram at tradeblock.us. I already dropped Beams. I dropped his stuff in the chat as well. So, hey, you guys absolutely can do that. Sorry, I don't know if we answer this. How long is the process? The process can vary, but again, I've had it go from 8 days to 11 days. I think if you give it 10 to 11, I think that's actually really a really good range, right? Time in transit to ship your shoe off, time for the shoe to be inspected, again, double blind authentication, and then time for the shoe to be shipped back to you. And if you have to account for the weekend as well, I think 10 to 11 days is probably something you can expect. We're in COVID, so if you have to add a few more days, just be mindful of that. Okay. I just think we have to continue to say that, give businesses, give services grace, no matter who it is, because everybody is still struggling trying to overcome all the restrictions and things we're dealing with. But again, you can check out Tradeblock too. They will be on Mature Kids this weekend. So make sure you check that out, and you can follow them on Instagram, and then you can subscribe to them here on YouTube. So as always, people, act your age more than ever right now in the sneaker game. Okay. Act your age, not your shoe size. All right. That is all I'm asking you guys to do this week in this month of February. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, peace out, man.
TJ, you